Hey everyone, back here for part 3 of the Firebird build. In the last video we had done the guide coat of paint. So now I am on to the stage of seeing what the body actually looks like. And I have went out to the sink and wet sanded this with 800 grit. And you can see what's left. I got some paint down in the recesses that I said was going to be there. But I also have a couple problem areas that I need to get squared away. A couple of them that showed up is right here where the scoops are. There's a couple little sink marks that's still left with this little bit of paint color down here. I keep sanding on that a little bit. It'll knock that right out. Also got a sink mark right back here on the quarter panel, right up through here. And somebody had asked me one time about what ghosting is as far as your mold lines or seam lines, and I'll see if I can get this to focus in here. Right through this area right here, you can see a dark line coming down from the B pillar and coming back. That is a ghost of the mold line that was in this body. So that needs a little bit more sanding, and that'll take that out. And like I say, that the color that I've got on here really shows that up. And another problem area is right back here in the corner of the trunk lid. You can see how wide that corner is. You want that to be the same size line as the panel line leading into it and away from it. Let's see, what else did we have on here? I noticed a few things. Like I say, there's a sink mark right above my finger there, and there's another one right down here at the bottom. Those showed up, but a little bit of sanding and they'll come out. A little bit of a sink mark in the nose of it right across here. Everything else looks pretty good there. And this is an area that I do this technique for, is right around the opening for the scoop. What's happened is they molded this with the opening in it. It's actually higher right around the opening of the scoop. And if you let that go, it actually creates a line all the way around there in your paint. Or when you get to the stage of wet sanding and buffing, that can be a problem area, because with this being higher and this lower, as you're sanding on this, you could cut through on that edge. So if you can get rid of all those edges at this stage, it really helps out a lot. And another area that we have a problem with is if you look at the panel line on the hood coming back, and then when you get right here, notice how wide that line gets. And it's the same thing on this side. Now in one of the videos I done, I said I'd cut down the fenders a little bit to match the height of the hood. They still need to go down a little bit. That's why that line is wider back there. So, you know, and another good thing about doing this is you can look in the recesses and see the paint, which is the actual color that I'm using on the body, and in the side scoops there, and same thing in the side scoops there, and back in the grill panels. It actually acts as a pre-shading when you're doing it this way. Now, if I was to go and spray a base coat over top of this, of the white, then I would lose that pre-shading. But with these House of Color paints, once that's down there, it will pre-shade to a certain extent. And the same thing with the panel lines in your doors. I don't use black. Black is too bold for me. It doesn't look right. So using this technique, I've already got some of the color down in there, and when I continue to spray this body to do the final top coats on it, that panel line will get darker, but it will get darker with the color that we're using on the body. It looks real good to me on a model, so that's why I do it. Another problem I see on this is right here. You can see a lot of well, actually, it's going to show up pink on the camera, but you can see a lot of paint left right there in that corner, and it's not in this corner over here. That means that the hood is low right in that corner, so I've got to bring down the headlight door and the fender a little bit to match the height of the hood. So, you know, that's why I do this stage, you know, do it like this, because, I mean, this is the actual color that I'm using on the car, so if I can get rid of all this stuff now, when I get the final color coats put on it, this thing is going to be smooth. It's going to be glass-like and a whole lot easier to wet sand and buff out. And it just makes for a better appearing model. You know, this is not the way everybody is going to do it or may want to do it. But this is my procedure that I've, you know, kind of fine-tuned over the years, and it works great for me. You know, a lot of people would be using primer at this stage. Like I say, I do not use primer. I showed you the white body, and I showed you over in the spray booth where we were, you know, doing the base coat. And I'm going to address these couple issues that I have with it here, and we're going to go back over to the spray booth, and we're going to put another mist coat over it just like we did before. I'm not going to do a video on that, but it'll be basically the same thing that we did in the last video. And then I'm going to come back to this stage here, and if all my panel lines are even and everything looks good, then we'll be ready for the top coats. And when I get it to that stage, I'll go ahead and we'll do a video at the spray booth of putting the actual finished color coats on this, and getting those down. And then I will also let that dry for a little bit and shoot it down with a coat of clear. And then I'll do apply my decals, and I'll keep you up to date in between there. So I'm probably looking at this point in time, I'm probably looking at maybe tomorrow night will be, we should have this thing pretty much in its final coat of clear, or not its final coat of clear, but its guide coat of clear, so I can get the decals on. And then Wednesday night we'll be shooting the, probably Wednesday night we'll be shooting the final coats of clear on it. And I'm going to let that dry because the testers dries out pretty fast. And we should be able to wet sand and buff on this thing on Thursday. And Friday to do the final assembly on it, we should be good to go. Or at least that's what I'm hoping for. So, like always, I thank you for watching. If you have any questions or concerns, just leave me a comment on the video, and be more than glad to get back to you. So I'm going to let you go on that for now, and I thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you later.